पुत्रा वयं शृण्वन्तु अमृतस्य पुत्रा वयं शृण्वन्तु अमृतस्य पुत्रा वयं शृण्वन्तु अमृतस्य पुत्रा वयं शृण्वन्तु.
Namaste. Greetings, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all those who have joined us today again, and for those who are joining us for the first time to study, to learn how to pronounce and chant Amma's 108 names, known as Amma's Ashtotaram. Join me in welcoming Mokshamrita ji to this online series. Namaste, Swamiji. On behalf of all attendees, let me thank you, Swamiji, for conducting these long-awaited sessions to learn how to correctly pronounce and chant Amma's 108 names. But let me briefly shed light on yesterday's session. Swamiji elaborated on the physical and mental readiness one should have while embarking on this Ashtotara sadhana. The right word Swamiji used was bhavana, the right bhavana one should invoke when we start Amma's Ashtotaram. Then Swamiji spoke on how to decode the transliteration of Sanskrit in English. And then Swamiji ended by explaining the meaning of the first mantra, Om pūrṇa-brahma-svarūpiṇyai namaḥ, how to chant it and the meaning of it. Thank you very much. Without much further ado, Swamiji, the floor is all yours.
Om Amriteshwaryai Namah. Om Amriteshwaryai Namah. Om Amriteshwaryai Namah. May Amma's blessings be with all of us. So, the most important points which are worth repeating from yesterday. First, as much as possible, try to pronounce correctly and do not feel dejected or sad if you are not able to pronounce exactly the way I'm going to pronounce. With practice, you will become perfect. So it just needs a little bit practice, but try your best. Second thing, very, very important, when we chant these mantras, have bhavana, which I explained yesterday. Bhavana means not just imagination, you are actually convinced in your heart that the Ishtadevata, in this case Amma herself, is right in front of you. तो उस भाव के साथ कि अम्मा आपके सामने साक्षात आपके सामने बैठी हैं, आप हर मंत्र को करेंगे और पूरे जितना हो सके उतना ही शुद्ध उच्चारण के साथ. So we will once again look at this first mantra. I will one by one go through 9 mantras today, and after that we will have question answer session. Okay. So the first mantra, the common elements of each mantra, as I told you yesterday also, are Om and the last part Namah. And the right way to pronounce this is Om, not Om, not Om. Om, and then the last one Namah, not Namaha. Namaha is a wrong pronunciation. Or Namaha is also a wrong pronunciation. Namah. Okay. Now the middle part. This is pūrṇa, pūrṇa in Sanskrit, and this is in the IAST notation. Pūrṇa. You see that bar on the U, which means you have to elongate that sound, stretch that sound. Pūrṇa. And you see a dot below the N here. So this means that it is not a normal na. It is na. Okay, so na and na are two different sounds in Sanskrit. Okay, so this part we have to pronounce properly. Pūrṇa, not Pūran. You know, many North Indians especially, they have a habit of pronouncing this first part as Pūran. This one, the first part, they say Pūran. Pūran is wrong. This is not Pūran. This is not Pūran. It is Pūrṇa. pūrṇa, pūrṇa. Then the second part, this one, you see the first letter here, it's ba, it's ba, B. But you see B here, it is ba. The actual sound is ba. It's not bha. Ba and bha are two different sounds. The second one, bha, has it's an aspirated sound. It has an H at the end. Bha. It is not bha, it is ba. Okay, so Brahma, 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 not Brahma, not Brahma. In the end, you have to cut it short. Brahma. Don't pronounce it as Brahma. This is not Brahma. Okay, if it was Brahma, then in the IST notation, you would have seen a horizontal line on top of A, something like this. But since that line is not there, that means it has to be pronounced as Brahma, Brahma. Okay. Then the next part, Svarūpiṇyai, Svarūpiṇyai, Svarūpiṇyai. ये है Svarūpiṇyai. Okay. And the last portion in this, which you see, this one, this has to be pronounced properly. Many people make a mistake in pronouncing this part. ये जो अंतिम भाग है जिसपे मैंने गोला मारा अभी, इसको आप ठीक से प्रोनाउंस करें. ठीक है. बहुत से लोग जब इसको प्रोनाउंस करते हैं तो गलती करते हैं. ये जो लास्ट वाला जिसको गोल दिया है अभी, ये वाला पार्ट, इसको ठीक से प्रोनाउंस करना है. इसका सही उच्चारण, द करेक्ट प्रोनाउंसिएशन इज यई, नॉट ये. यई, यई, नॉट ये. Okay, so you don't say Svarūpiṇyai, you say Svarūpiṇyai, Svarūpiṇyai, Svarūpiṇyai. Okay, hope that is clear. Now notice one thing. एक चीज पे ध्यान दीजिए. The ण which is here and this ण are the same letter, but here it is full. Here it is full. Here it is half. You don't see this this vertical line here. ये जो डंडा है ये यहाँ पे नहीं है, यहाँ पे नहीं है, तो ये half है, ये आधा है. ठीक है. So you don't give too much stress on ण. The sound has to be there, but it has to be just a touch of it. So the right pronunciation is Svarūpiṇyai, Svarūpiṇyai. You don't say Svarūpiṇyai. So don't stop there or don't elongate that sound. Svarūpiṇyai. Not like that. Svarūpiṇyai. Just a touch of that because this letter is half. So अगर आप पूरा मंत्र भी देखेंगे एक बार फिर, ओम पूर्ण ब्रह्म स्वरूपिण्यै नमः. I will repeat in English with the IST notation. Om Pūrṇa Brahma Svarūpiṇyai Namah. And what does it mean? मैंने कल भी बताया था. Salutations to her who is the complete manifestation of the absolute truth or the Brahman. In Advaita Vedanta or in other traditions of Vedanta also, including Vishishta Advaita Vedanta and others, Brahman is the absolute truth, the ultimate reality, the supreme divinity. So we are saying, in this mantra, we are saying that Amma is the complete manifestation of the absolute truth, Brahman. So we should not mistake her as a 5 feet body only. Amma also says this quite often. We should not mistake her as a 5 feet body only. pūrṇa-brahma-svarūpiṇi को नमस्कार, ये इसका हिंदी में अर्थ है. Now, I'm going to play the sound. Okay, I'm going to play the sound as with full mantra. It's a recorded sound. Listen to it carefully. You can record it on your phones also. And I will also share this mantra sound with you on the Telegram or WhatsApp channel. Okay, तो एक बार आप सुन लीजिए, रिकॉर्ड भी कर सकते हैं और टेलीग्राम और व्हाट्सएप चैनल पे इसको मैं शेयर भी करूंगा. ओम पूर्ण ब्रह्म स्वरूपिण्यै नमः. ओम पूर्ण ब्रह्म स्वरूपिण्यै नमः. ओम पूर्ण ब्रह्म स्वरूपिण्यै नमः. So hope that is clear. Now, let's go briefly, because we won't have time to go too much into the details of the Sanskrit language. But still, I want you to get some basic ideas of why certain things or why certain portions of the word are written the way they are written. तो ज़्यादा गहराई में नहीं जाएंगे क्योंकि समय नहीं है इतना, फिर तो काफी दिन लग जाएंगे हमें ये सब करने में. लेकिन फिर भी मैं सारांश में आप लोगों को बताऊंगा कि क्यों कुछ शब्द के कुछ भाग, उनका जो रूप है वो क्यों थोड़ा अलग सा दिखता है. जैसे you would have noticed that in the first mantra we have this portion where it says Swarupiṇyai, Swarupiṇyai, right? So we saw this just now. Swarupiṇyai. Swarupiṇyai. So actual word is Swarupini. Swarupini. And because of certain grammatical rules in Sanskrit, this changes to Swarupiṇyai. Swarupiṇyai. The actual is Swarupini, but it changes to Swarupiṇyai. The reason it changes to Swarupiṇyai is because when we are offering namaskar, in English we do namaskar, but in Sanskrit you don't do namaskar, you offer namaskar. There is a difference. You don't do namaskar, you offer namaskar. And when you offer something to the deity or anybody or to Guru, whenever there is an offering, you use the Chaturthi Vibhakti, the fourth declension. We won't go into those details. So every word, every shabda in Sanskrit, it undergoes the modifications in its form depending on various factors, such as gender, number, and what is the context in which that particular word is being used. So here, since the context is offering something, so we use the fourth declension, the Chaturthi Vibhakti. Okay, so that is why the word Swarupini changes to Swarupiṇyai. संस्कृत में हम नमस्कार करते नहीं है, हम नमस्कार को अर्पण करते हैं, ऑफर करते हैं. तो actually if you look at the real meaning in Sanskrit for this, it is for the one who is the complete manifestation of absolute truth or Brahman, I offer my namaskar. I offer my salutations. pūrṇa-brahma-svarūpiṇi को मेरा नमस्कार है. मैं नमस्कार करता हूं नहीं है, मेरा नमस्कार अर्पण है, अर्पित करता हूं. It's an offering. So that is why we use the Chaturthi Vibhakti, the fourth declension, and the word changes from Swarupini to Swarupiṇyai. And you will see this pattern in many mantras. In many mantras at the end, you will see this sound changing to yai, or something like that, that I sound will come at the end because that denotes the Chaturthi Vibhakti. the fourth declension. Fine. So I hope this whole mantra is clear. Om pūrṇa-brahma-svarūpiṇyai namaḥ. Let's go to the second mantra now. The second mantra, of course, the first part and the last part are common to all mantras, Om and Namaḥ. So this mantra is Om saccidānanda-mūrtaye namaḥ. Om saccidānanda-mūrtaye namaḥ. In the IAST notation, Om saccidānanda. Notice here the A has a bar. Here A does not have a bar, which means this A should be shorter and this A should be longer. So this A is also short, this A is also short. So the sound is Saccida. See here the longer one. Saccidānanda. Saccidānanda. Don't say Saccidānanda. There is no bar here. So it is not Saccidānanda. It is Saccidānanda. Saccidānanda पढ़ेंगे इसे सच्चिदानंदा नहीं पढ़ेंगे. ठीक है. ओम सच्चिदानंद मूर्तये 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 नमः. ओम सच्चिदानंद-मूर्तये नमः. Om Saccidānanda-mūrtaye namaḥ. And what does it mean? It means salutations to her who is existence, knowledge, and bliss embodied. Meaning Amma is an embodiment of existence, knowledge, and bliss. In Hindi, we will say Sat Chit Ananda Murti ko Namaskar. Now here you will notice this word Murti. This is actually a declension or the change in the form of the word Murti. The actual word or the part of the word is here is Murti. And Murti means embodiment. And this word, it's actually a combination of three words in Sanskritam. And because of the grammatical rules of Sanskrit, when that joining happens of different padas, then there is a sandhi. Sandhi means joining. So there are rules of sandhi. It's technically called sandhi. And there are many other forms. Sandhi is there, samasa is there. There's a lot of things in the grammar. We won't have time to go into those details. There is, when the word is formed in Sanskritam, any word, it goes through a prakriya, a process. So starting from the root word or the dhatu, तो धातु से शुरू होता है और फिर एक प्रक्रिया होती है शब्दों में और उस प्रक्रिया से शब्द का एक रूप बनता है. तो शुरू में धातु को लिया जाता है और फिर प्रत्ययों को लिया जाता है, फिर कभी कभी उपसर्गों को लगाया जाता है, कभी कभी फिर संधि होती है अलग अलग पदों में और कभी कभी समास बनते हैं. तो उससे अलग अलग शब्दों के रूप हमें देखने को मिलते हैं. So we start with the root word, we add some prefixes and suffixes. Suffix is called a pratyay and prefix is called an upasarga. So we add prefixes, suffixes, then there are joining rules, sandhi happens, samasa, prakriya also happens sometimes. So all that process goes on, and that is why you will see the change in the form of the words. So here, this Saccidānanda is actually combination of three words. So what are those words? Let us look at them. The words are Sat, Chit, and Ananda. Sat, Chit, and Ananda. So this one, Sat, Sat, you will pronounce it as Sat. Sat means existence, existence. Chit, Chit means consciousness. and Ananda. Ananda means bliss. Sat, Chit, Ananda. When you combine them, it becomes Saccidānanda. Saccidānanda. Now notice these, because of the grammatical rules, this ta changes to cha. See, in English also you will see here it was T, and that T changed to C here. That is because of the grammatical rules in Sanskrit. Various rules are there. We won't go into the details, but I just want to give you a flavor of what is happening, why you see different forms of the words. If you understand like this, it will be easier for you to remember the meanings of each mantra. Because now when you know, आपको अगर एक बार ये समझ में आ गया कि सच्चिदानंद वास्तव में सत, चित और आनंद इन तीनों की संधि है, तो आपको अर्थ को याद रखने में बहुत ही आसानी होगी. You will find it very easy to remember the meaning then, because when that word is broken up, then you know, oh, okay, Sat is existence, Chit is consciousness, and Ananda is bliss. So Sacchidananda means existence, consciousness, bliss. Similarly, there is one part of this mantra where there is a change in the form. Murti becomes Mūrtaye, which I told earlier also. So actual word is Murti, but we use a different form of it. Why we use a different form, I already told you, because in Sanskritam you offer the namaskar. To Amma we are offering the namaskar. So here the fourth declension or the chaturthi vibhakti of the word Murti is Mūrtaye. So here you will see it's not Mūrtyai. Mūrtyai is also one of the acceptable forms actually, but in the printed whatever literature we have for these Amma's Ashtotram, we usually use Mūrtaye. But it is also fourth vibhakti of the word Murti. So once again, the mantra is Om Saccidānanda-mūrtaye namaḥ. Now I will play this 3 times for you. You can either record it or wait for the recording to come on the Telegram and the WhatsApp channels, but just listen to it and try to soak it in your ears. 3 times I will play this. Listen carefully. Om Saccidānanda-mūrtaye namaḥ. Om Saccidānanda-mūrtaye namaḥ. Om Saccidānanda-mūrtaye namaḥ. Okay. And yesterday also I told you, you can use the Shruti box to make your practice a little more interesting and deeper. So I'm using a Shruti box here. You can see there is a hum in the background. And this is at the Shruti scale 2. You can choose Shruti according to your scale, doesn't matter. So that will give you much more focus and concentration, but it is not necessary. जरूरी नहीं है, आवश्यक नहीं है कि आप श्रुति का जो वादन है, श्रुति बॉक्स है, उसको आप प्रयोग में लाएं. लेकिन अगर आप करते हैं तो उससे आपको एक अच्छी एकाग्रता मिलती है और आपको एक भाव जागृत होता है जब आप अम्मा के 108 नाम की अर्चना करते हैं. Let's go to the third mantra now. So third mantra is Om ātmārāmāgragaṇyāyai namaḥ. Om ātmārāmāgragaṇyāyai namaḥ. Om ātmārāmāgragaṇyāyai namaḥ. IAST notation. Om. Notice the bars on the top. That means you have to elongate that. And dot below the N means it's not a normal na sound. It is a ana sound. Okay. So Om ātmārāmāgragaṇyāyai namaḥ. What is the meaning? Salutations to her who is supreme among those who revel in the inner self. आत्मा में रमण करने वाले योगियों में जो अग्रगण्य है, उसको नमस्कार, उसको नमस्कार. Which means the yoginis of the yogis, the Divine Mother herself, the Divine Mother herself, because Divine Mother is the supreme yogini. To that Divine Mother, to that Amma, I offer my namaskar. Now here you will see one different kind of a notation. See this one. This notation means gra. ātmārāmāgragaṇyāyai namaḥ. And here ta is half. So we don't say atama, atama. We say atma. Just a touch to the T sound. Just a touch. Atma. And this is agragaṇyāyai. ātmārāmāgragaṇyāyai namaḥ. Because Devi, there is no other yogi who is more adept than the Devi herself, the Divine Mother. So salutations to that Divine Mother, that Amma, who is supreme among those who revel in the inner self. Om ātmārāmāgragaṇyāyai namaḥ. See, when you break, now again I will show you here how to break this word, just so that you understand how to remember the meanings. जैसे मैंने पीछे भी बताया था, हमने यहाँ पे जब ये सच्चिदानंद-मूर्तये की बात की थी, अब आपको अगर एक बार पता चल गया कि सत, चित और आनंद है, then you are very easily able to correlate the meanings. So sat is existence. So you know, okay, so sat is here. Chit is knowledge or consciousness. Both. It is used in both meanings, because in Sanskrit words have multiple meanings. So one meaning is knowledge, one is consciousness. And the third one is bliss, ananda, right? So now you can connect. Similarly here, now let us see how do we connect the meaning to the mantra. So for that, we will first try to understand how this middle portion came, about. क्योंकि वो समझ में आ जाएगी तो फिर हमें उसका अर्थ भी समझ में आ जाएगा कि ये ऐसा कैसे बन गया. ठीक है. Now here what has happened is, again different words have combined. बहुत सारे जो पद हैं, बहुत सारे शब्द मिले हैं, उनकी संधि हुई है. तो how is that sandhi done here? You will see here. On the top, you see the actual word which is in the mantra, ātmārāmāgragaṇyāyai. But actually, it has three components. The first component is Atma. The second component is Rama. And then Agragaṇya. Atma, Rama, Agragaṇya. And again, because of that offering the namaskar, because this portion, agragaṇyāyai, because you're offering the namaskar to that. So here, fourth vibhakti again, chaturthi vibhakti, you see the pattern again, that yai sound coming, and then it becomes ātmārāmāgragaṇyāyai namaḥ. Now this Atma and Rama, this also combines, so it becomes Ātmārāma. And then Ātmārāma combines with Agragaṇya. Why we can use agragaṇya also without this, without the A. We can say agragaṇya also, but for females, for the striling, for the female gender, in the striling we say agragaṇya. It becomes dhirga, the sound becomes elongated. Otherwise, if it was a male, we would have said agraganya. Agraganya. Here it is agraganya, right? So ātmārāma plus agraganya becomes ātmārāmāgragaṇyāyai. And then that vibhakti changes, with the fourth declension changes, it becomes ātmārāmāgragaṇyāyai. अभी आप अगर इसके अर्थ को समझने का प्रयास करेंगे तो आपके लिए बहुत आसान रहेगा, बिकॉज अभी आपको समझ में आ गया कि इसके क्या क्या अलग अलग भाग हैं. आत्मा है, और फिर आत्मा और राम मिलके बन गए आत्माराम, और फिर अग्रगण्या. सो आत्माराम, if you see the meaning of Atmaram, it means those who revel in the self, those who revel in the inner self. This means Atmārāma. Atmārāma means those who revel in the inner self. And Agraganya, this part, Agraganya means supreme, supreme, supreme. And namaḥ, of course, you know, salutations. So meaning becomes very clear. Salutations to her who is supreme among those who revel in the inner self. अग्रगण्या का मतलब है जो सबसे आगे है, सबसे ऊंची है. उस देवी को, उस योगियों में सबसे ऊपर जो है, जिसका स्थान सर्वोपरि है, उस देवी को मेरा नमस्कार, उस अम्मा को मेरा नमस्कार. Hope it is clear. Om ātmārāmāgragaṇyāyai namaḥ. I'll play this mantra now 3 times. Listen carefully. Om ātmārāmāgragaṇyāyai namaḥ. Om ātmārāmāgragaṇyāyai namaḥ. Om ātmārāmāgragaṇyāyai namaḥ. Fine. Now let's go to the next mantra. Now I'm not going to go too much into the details of each word. अभी मैं थोड़ा जल्दी जल्दी इसको करूंगा ताकि हम 9 मंत्र पूरे कर सकें. I will go little faster now. I'm not going into the details of each word now. Now you understood, you got a feel of it, you get an idea why certain words, why their forms are changing. So you can remember the meaning clearly, easily by breaking them apart. I will tell you what the breakup is wherever it is important. So this fourth mantra is Om yogalīnāntarātmane namaḥ. Om yogalīnāntarātmane namaḥ. Om yogalīnāntarātmane namaḥ. In the IST notation, Om yogalīnāntarātmane namaḥ, which means salutations to her whose inner self is merged in yoga. योग में लीन अंतरात्मा से युक्त अम्मा को नमस्कार. उस अम्मा को जिसकी अंतरात्मा योग में लीन है, उस अम्मा को मेरा नमस्कार है. So here, of course, yoga, you know the meaning, yoga. So that meaning you can relate to this. Now, there is a portion called Leena. 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 So Leena means merged. Here, in this context, it would mean merged. Leena. And then we have antarātmane. 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 Antarātmane means inner self. Inner self. Antarātmane. Inner self. So now you see the meaning very, very easily. Yoga is yoga. Leena means merged. Antarātmane means inner self. So the meaning becomes salutations to her whose inner self is merged in yoga. योग में लीन अंतरात्मा से युक्त अम्मा को नमस्कार. Now let's listen to the mantra 3 times. Om yogalīnāntarātmane namaḥ. Om yogalīnāntarātmane namaḥ. Om yogalīnāntarātmane namaḥ. Okay, now let's go to the next mantra. 5th mantra. Om antarmukha-svabhāvāyai namaḥ. Antarmukha-svabhāvāyai namaḥ. Now here you need to understand few nuances in it. I will first do it once more with the IST notation. Om antarmukha-svabhāvāyai namaḥ. Okay. One important thing to remember here is you will see two very important portions here which are new. Bha. This sound, bha. Bha. It is not ba. It is not simple ba. There is a H attached to it at the back. It's not just B, it is BH. So bha. That is how you pronounce it. And then this part on the top, it has to be pronounced as antarmukha. So hope that is clear. Om antarmukha-svabhāvāyai namaḥ. And of course, this I told you already. You see this form coming again and again in most of the mantras, and you know now why this form is being repeated, because it is the Chaturthi Vibhakti, the 4th declension, which is used in the context of offering something to the deity or to the guru or to anybody. So it becomes that I sound comes in the end. Now what is the meaning? Salutations to her whose very nature is inwardly drawn. हिंदी में क्या बोलेंगे? अंतर्मुख स्वभाव संपन्न अम्मा को नमस्कार, या उस अम्मा को नमस्कार जिसका स्वभाव कैसा है? अंतर्मुखी है. Now let us try to understand the meaning with the breakup of the words. Antarmukha, the first part, antarmukha, it means inwardly drawn. Inwardly drawn. Antarmukha. Then swabhava. Swabhāvāyai is there. So just swabhava part, if you take swabhava part means nature. Nature. स्वभाव, जिसे हम हिंदी में कहते हैं, स्वभाव भी सेम ही है. So antarmukha is inwardly drawn, swabhava is nature. So meaning becomes very clear. Salutations to Amma whose very nature is inwardly drawn. Means no matter what Amma is doing, she is always drawn inwardly. Now this has to be understood. What does it mean? Because Amma is talking to everybody outwardly also. Actually, here inwardly and outwardly has to be understood in a proper way. Inward or outward doesn't have to do anything with one's mind or one's body. It does not, because whenever we say inward or outward, there has to be some reference. Are you saying outside the body and inside the body, or are you saying outside the mind or inside the mind? Or are you saying external senses or the internal senses? जब हम अंतर्मुख इस शब्द का प्रयोग करते हैं तो किस संदर्भ में हम उस शब्द का प्रयोग कर रहे हैं उसको जानना भी बहुत आवश्यक है. तो यहाँ पे अंतर्मुख का अर्थ है जो आत्मा में रमण करती हो. अंतर्मुख मतलब अपने अंतरतम, अपनी आत्मा में, जो सब में केवल आत्मा ही देख रही है, It means one who is completely established in the supreme divinity, in the Atman, and is able to see everything around as Atman. Amma is not seeing us as different from her. She is seeing all of us as Atman. That is why Amma, whenever she comes for namaskar, she says, Prema Swarupigal, Atma Swarupigal, Ellavarkum Namaskar. I bow down to all of you who are the embodiment of love and embodiment of the Supreme Atman. She says that because that is her swabhava, that is her in very nature. She cannot see anybody as different from her. She is established in that supreme Advaitic principles. So here antarmukha should not be taken to mean that somebody who is not paying attention to what is happening in the external world. अम्मा संसार में भी ईश्वर को ही देखती हैं, अम्मा संसार में भी उस परम सत्य को ही देखती हैं. That is why when somebody asked Amma, what is your concept of God? Amma said, you are my God. अम्मा ने कहा आप ही मेरे ईश्वर हैं, मेरे लिए आपसे अलग कोई ईश्वर नहीं है. Because that is her nature. वो उसका स्वभाव है अम्मा का. So that is what it should correctly be understood as. Om antarmukha-svabhāvāyai namaḥ. Om antarmukha-svabhāvāyai namaḥ. Om antarmukha-svabhāvāyai namaḥ. Now, let's go to the sixth mantra. Om turya-tuṅga-sthalījuṣe namaḥ. Om turya-tuṅga-sthalījuṣe namaḥ. In IST, Om turya-tuṅga-sthalījuṣe namaḥ. Okay. Now here, the new word which you see is, the new letter rather, is this one. And you see this be represented by N with a dot on the top. Okay. So this sound is tunga, tunga. Okay. I won't go into the details of it. For that, I will have to take the whole chapter on Sanskrit Vyakaranam. But just understand the sound, tunga. Okay. And then this one, which is represented by S dot and then E top. So the E top, this portion is for this A, this one. On top of sh, you see A. So that E is for that. But for this letter, the letter sh, you see S with a dot below. Sha, sha. One is sha. One is sha. So little more, you have to twist your tongue little bit. Sha, sha, not sha, sha. So the sound becomes Om turya-tuṅga-sthalījuṣe namaḥ. What does it mean? Salutations to her who dwells in the highest plane of consciousness. तुरीय. हिंदी में बोलेंगे, तुरीय की सर्वोच्च अवस्था में विराजित अम्मा को नमस्कार. turya-tuṅga-sthalījuṣe namaḥ. Let's listen to this sixth mantra now. Om turya-tuṅga-sthalījuṣe namaḥ. Om turya-tuṅga-sthalījuṣe namaḥ. Om turya-tuṅga-sthalījuṣe namaḥ. Okay, hope it is clear. Now again, if you break up the words, the meaning will become very, very clear. So here, turya, the highest plane of consciousness. I won't go into the details, which is called turiya. Turiya, highest plane of consciousness. It has lot of deeper meanings. I'm not going to that, but a simple meaning which is enough for us is highest plane of consciousness, turiya. What are the other three planes of consciousness? We all know: Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. Waking state, dream state, deep sleep state. And this is fourth one is called turiya. दो तीन अवस्थाएं, जागृत, सुषुप्ति और स्वप्न, और जो चौथी एक और इन सब से ऊपर है उसे कहते हैं तुरीय. एक्चुअली इफ यू गो इनटू द डिटेल्स ऑफ इट, अकॉर्डिंग टू शंकराचार्य's भाष्य, it is not really different from these three, but for our purposes, let us understand it as the highest plane of consciousness. हमारे इस संदर्भ में, जो हम अर्चना के संदर्भ में, इसको ऐसे ही समझे कि वो सर्वोच्च अवस्था, जो तीन अवस्थाएं जागृत, स्वप्न, सुषुप्ति की है, उससे भी ऊपर, सर्वोपरि, तुरीय, इनसे अलग नहीं है लेकिन फिर भी इनसे ऊपर है, सर्वोपरि है. तो तुर्या, दैट मीनिंग यू गॉट. देन tunga, tunga means highest, like a mountain peak, the topmost, highest. So that highest meaning is coming here, highest, tunga. Turya is just a plane of consciousness, but tunga makes it highest plane of consciousness. Sthalījuṣe, what does that mean? Who dwells, one who dwells in that place. Sthala actually means place. Sthalījuṣe means somebody who dwells in that place. So the whole meaning becomes salutations to her who dwells in the highest plane of consciousness, Turiya. उस अम्मा को नमस्कार है जो तुरीय की सर्वोच्च अवस्था में विराजित है. With Amma's blessings, when we start the Vedanta and the Advaita classes or sessions, we'll go deeper into these aspects, but for today, let us suffice with this meaning. Okay, seventh mantra. What is it? Seventh mantra. Let's go one by one. Om Prabha. Now you know that it is not to be pronounced just as ba, but bh, bha, bha, Prabha. Then next portion is Mandala. Mandala. Look at the dot below the N and dot below the D also. Mandala. So this na, it is called ana, not na, ana. Mandala. Prabha Mandala. Vītāyai. Vītāyai. Look at the horizontal bars on top of I and A. Vītāyai. And then namaḥ. Om Prabha Mandala Vītāyai namaḥ. Prabha. Prabha. Take this word, Prabha. Prabha means divine light. Divine light. Mandala. Mandala. Mandala means orb. Like a halo or an orb around. Okay. Mandala. Vītāyai means fully surrounded. Fully surrounded. Om Prabha Mandala Vītāyai namaḥ. So the meaning becomes clear. Salutations to Amma who is fully surrounded by an orb of divine light. Prabha मतलब प्रकाश आप कह सकते हैं, दिव्य प्रकाश. मंडल जो आसपास एक मंडल है. प्रभा मंडल वीतायै, जिसके आसपास, जो उस मंडल से घिरी हुई है चारों ओर से. किस मंडल से? उस दिव्य प्रकाश से. उस दिव्य अम्मा को मेरा नमस्कार है. दिव्य प्रभा मंडलमयी उस अम्मा को नमस्कार है. Now let us listen to this mantra. I'll play it 3 times. Listen carefully. Om Prabha-mandalavitaye Namah. Om Prabha-mandalavitaye Namah. Om Prabha-mandalavitaye Namah. Now, 8th mantra. 8th mantra is Om Durasada Mahaujase Namah. I'll repeat. Om Durasada Durasada Mahaujase Namah. Notice again that the sound, this one where you have a bar on the top, and this one has to be elongated. So that is why Om Durasada Mahaujase Namah. Okay, this one is very, very simple. Durasada Mahaujase Namah. Okay, very, very easy to pronounce mantra, one of the very easily pronounceable mantras. Now, Durasada means unsurpassable, Anupam, peerless. There is no equivalent to that, nothing greater than that. Unsurpassable. You cannot have anything greater than that. Mahaujase. Mahaujase. So that meaning comes here. Greatness. Whose greatness? So meaning becomes very clear. Salutations to that Amma whose greatness is unsurpassable. उस अनुपम महिमामयी अम्मा को नमस्कार है, जिसकी महिमा अपरंपार है, जिसकी महिमा जितनी भी गाई जाए कम है, जिसकी महिमा से बढ़कर कुछ है ही नहीं, उनसे बढ़कर कुछ है ही नहीं, उस अम्मा को नमस्कार है. Now let us listen to the mantra 3 times. Om Durasada Mahaujase Namah. Om Durasada Mahaujase Namah. Om Durasada Mahaujase Namah. Okay, so finally, the last mantra for the day. So this mantra is slightly complicated, but not too complicated. And I'm sure with whatever we have learned so far, you will be easily able to understand what this mantra is. And it may look little bigger and complicated, but it is very, very simple. Again, we'll go part by part. Okay. So let's start. Om Tyakta. 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 In English, you see, there is no dot, there is no line on the top, nothing. So it is very simple. Om Tyakta. Then Digvastu. Digvastu. The G is half here. You don't see a vertical line after that. So this is half, just a touch of it. Similarly, this Sa, just a touch of it. Digvastu. Digvastu. Kaladi. Kaladi. You see these vertical lines. So here you will see this horizontals on top of A. Kaladi. Kaladi. And this is a Hriswa Ikara, which means this A should be pronounced in a shorter form. Kaladi. Don't say Kaladi. It's not Kaladi. It's not Dhirga. It is not longer. If it was longer, you would have seen a horizontal bar on top of I also. But we don't see that. So it is shorter form. Kaladi. Om Tyakta Digvastu Kaladi. Om Tyakta Digvastu Kaladi. And then what does it mean? Sarvavacheda. Sarvavacheda. Again, horizontal bars on the top. Sarvavacheda. vachcheda rashaye. Now this is a normal sha. Rashaye, and it is represented with a S with a slight mark on the top, a slant mark on the top. So rashaye namah. Om tyakta digvastu kaladi sarvavachcheda rashaye namah. Om tyakta digvastu kaladi sarvavachcheda rashaye namah. What does it mean? Salutations to Amma, who has risen above all the limitations of space, matter and time. बहुत सुंदर मंत्र है. उस अम्मा को नमस्कार है जो देश, वस्तु, काल इन सब के भेदों से परे हैं, इन सब की सीमाओं से परे हैं. इन सब की सीमाओं से परे हैं अम्मा. See, when you do these mantras with a bhavna, this becomes a very, very deep meditation. Can you imagine when you are doing this mantra meditation with this bhavna that Amma is the one who is beyond the limitations of space, time and matter? It is a very, very different, not just a feeling, but an experience. So that bhavna is very important. Because when you do that bhavna, I told you yesterday also that Kashmir Shaivism, Abhinav Gupta, what he says, that Shuddha Vikalpa practice becomes very strong. And then it raises you to a level where you can realize your supreme nature, Shivoham, Shivoham. Om Tyakta Digvastu Kaladi Sarva Vachcheda Rashaye Namah. Let's listen to the mantra 3 times. Om Tyakta Digvastu Kaladi Sarva Vachcheda Rashaye Namah. Om Tyakta Digvastu Kaladi Sarva Vachcheda Rashaye Namah. Om Tyakta Digvastu Kaladi Sarva Vachcheda Rashaye Namah. So hope it is very, very clear. Now let us quickly look at the words and their meanings so that we understand the whole meaning. This will be our last mantra for the day. ये हमारा अंतिम मंत्र होगा. इसके बाद अगर कुछ प्रश्न हैं तो हम वो ले सकते हैं. तो इसमें सबसे पहले हम देखेंगे इन शब्दों को. दिग वस्तु काला. दिग वस्तु काला. यहाँ पे दिग वस्तु काला. So dik, actually this is dik, but with the sandhi, when the sandhi happens in Sanskrit, the ka becomes ga. This is actually ka, which becomes ga. So it becomes dig vastu. Actually it is dik. So dig vastu kala, which means dig actually means, if you just look at the first 3, dig means direction. Direction. That is why it also means space, because direction is spoken of in the context of space. So dig also means space. Vastu means object, and the context here makes its meaning to matter. So dig is space, vastu is matter, and kala means time. Kala means time. So space, dig, matter, vastu, time, kala. Okay. And then sarva avachcheda. Here 2 words have combined, sarva and avachcheda. These 2 words have combined to give the meaning. Sarva avachcheda means all the limitations. Sarva avachcheda means all the limitations. Now, tyakta the word tyakta here in this context means risen above, or gone beyond. So you will remember this easily. There is another word in Sanskritam called tyaga. Tyaga means renunciation, right? So it's the same word, the root word is same. This form has come from the same root word. Tyaga means renunciation. So tyakta means to go beyond those limitations in this context, to rise above those limitations. And then the last part, namaḥ, that you know, the namaskar, right? So the whole meaning becomes salutations to her who has risen above all the limitations of space, matter and time. देश वस्तु काल इन सब की सीमाओं से परे, इनके भेदों से परे उस अम्मा को नमस्कार है. We have completed all the 9 mantras of today with Amma's grace. And sorry, it took a little longer, but I think we are still not that late. And in case you have not joined the channels yet, please do. It will help you a lot. It will help you a lot with all the supplementary materials that we are going to share with you. It is going to extremely help you in chanting. In case you have not joined, you can scan one of these QR codes either for the WhatsApp or Telegram right now with your phone. You can just take your phone, and either if you have a QR code app, you can use that. Or if you even use your Google Lens, which you find in the Google search, Google Lens is there. So with Google Lens also, if you scan this, you will immediately be able to see a URL. And if you click on that URL, you will immediately get added to our channel. So I'll give half a minute for you to do that, and then we'll start with the question answer session. Meanwhile, I will request our team to take a look at the Q&A and keep the questions ready.
Yes, Swamiji. There is one question from a participant who says, what are the consequences of wrong pronunciation, and would the intention override the wrong pronunciation?
If you're not able to pronounce properly, as I said yesterday also, because of reasons such as you are not from Indian origin or you don't know the Sanskrit pronunciation properly, there is absolutely no harm. But if you are not pronouncing properly because you are lazy or you're not paying enough attention, then, obviously it is not a good thing. But above everything is the bhavna, the intention, which I mentioned yesterday also. When you do the chanting is very, very important. And when the bhavna is strong, everything else is taken care of. This Amma has told many times. But still then, Amma says we should give 100% Shraddha also in our practice. Shraddha comes when we are aware of each and every sound that is being chanted. If we don't give that enough Shraddha, we become very complacent. We take it for granted. And usually I have seen when people practice either Ashtottaram or Lalita Sahasranam over a period of time, many people have asked me, they say now we don't get that same kind of blissful feeling or that deep feeling when we do chanting as used to be when we started it. The reason is because we don't have the right bhavna or we don't have the proper Shraddha. When you combine bhavna with Shraddha, then you get the maximum benefit. If you have just the bhavna, just the intention, but no Shraddha on the pronunciation, you will get benefit. Don't worry, you will not be put into hell or you will not get some papa. I won't say that because Amma has said there is nothing like that. Divine Mother, Amma, sees your intention more than anything. But if you have Shraddha also, if you have that Shraddha, you get maximum benefit. Otherwise, you may get little benefit. Your preparation, that mantra transformation which has to happen within you at the subtle level with those divine sounds will happen completely fully if you have Shraddha on the pronunciation also. If you don't have that Shraddha, then you will not see that kind of transformation. However, even if you are not able to pronounce properly, but you have both Shraddha, you are trying your best, and you have Bhavna also, you will still be able to get 100% benefit. तो श्रद्धा अगर है और साथ में भावना भी है तो आपको उसका पूरा पूरा लाभ मिलेगा. अगर आप ठीक से प्रोनाउंस नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, उच्चारण नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, इवन आफ्टर यू आर गिविंग योर 100%, आपकी पूरी कोशिश के बाद भी, तो उसमें घबराने की आवश्यकता नहीं है. आपको कोई नरक में नहीं जाना पड़ेगा, आपको किसी किस्म का पाप नहीं लगेगा. हाँ, आपको उतना फायदा नहीं होगा. जो आप में एक आंतरिक एक बदलाव, एक कृपा जो है, वो थोड़ा धीमी गति से हो जाएगी. तो श्रद्धा भी आवश्यक है और भावना भी आवश्यक है. So don't worry if you're not able to pronounce properly. What is more important is, are you paying 100% attention and trying to pronounce properly or not? Whether you are able to do it or not is a different question. But are you trying your best to learn how to pronounce and then to practice how to pronounce? That is more important. And of course, above everything is the intention or the bhavana. Okay.
Another question is, what is the difference between yai and ye?
See, I will have to go too much into the details of Sanskritam, but I will give you a quick answer. The difference is not in the meaning in the 9 mantras which we saw. Only in that context I am saying. The difference is not in the meaning, because in both cases, like murti become murtaye. Murti, that word became murtaye. Murti ka murtaye ho gaya. That is the 4th declension or the chaturthi vibhakti of that word. Similarly, swarupini became swarupiṇyai. Swarupini ka swarupiṇyai ho gaya. वो भी चतुर्थी विभक्ति है. That is also 4th vibhakti. But because of certain rules of grammar, in one case it is ye, in one case it is yai, but the meaning is same. It is an offering. It is an offering, and in this case, what are we offering? We are offering namaskar. We are offering the namaskar, salutations to Amma, to Devi. So meaning-wise, there is no difference, but because murti, for example, the last sound is a hraswa e. It's a short e, right? In swarupini, it is longer e, dirgha e. So that is why in the first case, murti, it became murtaye. But in the second case, since there is a longer e sound, swarupini, it became swarupiṇyai. Okay. So there are a lot of grammatical rules, different sutras, Panini sutras, which come into action, and because of that, the form changes. Meaning-wise, both mean offering.
Namah Shivaya, Swamiji.
Namah Shivaya.
I have 3 questions.
Yes.
First of all, आपने बोला था saccidānanda-mūrtaye namaḥ. Namaḥ. In this, you split the word Sat, Chit, Ananda. If I chant like that only, Sat, Chit, Anandaye Namaḥ, it is good. और if ऐसे बोलने से कुछ व्याकरण में, संस्कृत व्याकरण में कुछ गलत हो सकता है क्या? मेरा पहला क्वेश्चन है. दूसरा क्वेश्चन में, can we chant our Ashtotra in our regional language? I am from Bangalore. My mother tongue is Kannada. Usually, you said bhavana is very, very important. If I want to involve in that, I should be in our own bhavana. So I always chant Amma pūrṇa-brahma-svarūpiṇyai ಆಗಿರುವ ನಿನಗೆ ನಮೋ ನಮನಗಳು. I chant like this in my own regional language, Kannada language, in my mother tongue. Is it wrong? और ऐसे बोलने से benefit, मतलब आपने बोल रहा है ना, अंतर से कुछ effect ज्यादा होता है या कम होता है वो पता नहीं, उसके बारे में पूछना था। तीसरा क्वेश्चन है, आपने 9th श्लोक में राशये है ना, उसका मतलब क्या है? त्यक्त दिग्वस्तु खालादि सर्ववच्छेद राशये, राशये मतलब क्या है?
ओके, विल स्टार्ट वन बाय वन। बहुत सारे प्रश्न हैं आपके। द फर्स्ट वन जो आपने पूछा, सच्चिदानंद, सच्चिदानंद, दैट वन, because of sandhi, that word, when it gets combined, it changes its form. Definitely there is no harm when you have to understand it. You say Sat Chit Anand in the understanding. But when you are chanting the rules of, according to the rules of Sanskritam, when you speak it together, when we do Archana also, we don't stop while chanting a mantra. So when you chant the mantra, you chant the whole mantra. And here, of course, all mantras are Amma's mantras only. But these are the different aspects of the Devi or the Amma. Each mantra is a different aspect. And each aspect has a certain energy, certain form. So it has to be chanted in one go, not break it. So Sat, we are not saying Sat and then pausing for some time, and then Chit, pausing, and then Ananda, pausing. No. We are saying Om Saccidānanda-mūrtaye namaḥ. It flows, like a music. It flows. It flows. So Om Saccidānanda-mūrtaye namaḥ. So like you sing, when you sing, so there is a continuation of the notes. You don't break in between. Like when you sing bhajans or any singing, you don't break in between. So there's a continuation. So each mantra, that sound has to flow, that all words have to flow. You're not talking. You're not talking to somebody that you can break the words. If you are explaining the meaning, explaining how this word came about, you can break, no problem. But while chanting, जब हम मंत्र का उच्चारण करते हैं पूरा, तो पूरे मंत्र को एक ही बार में पूरा चैंट करना है. So it is recommended by Shastra also that मंत्र का उच्चारण करते समय पूरे मंत्र को एक शक्ति, एक एस्पेक्ट जो है उसको पूरे को आदर के साथ पूरा चैंट करना है in one go. So I will recommend that in your heart, in your mind, when you're doing the bhavna, you can understand it is Sat Chit Anand, but when you chant it one shot. Om Saccidānanda-mūrtaye namaḥ. Now, second aspect of your question, whether we can use the local language to chant my Ashtottaram of Amma, definitely. Why not? I mean, definitely you can make your own meanings of it and you can sing it or do whatever. But if you have to chant Amma's Ashtottaram in Sanskritam, then obviously you have to learn how to pronounce Sanskritam properly. Sanskritam I will recommend because one is your Shraddha will increase. I said two things are very important. Amma has always said in Archana, Shraddha as well as Bhavna. And because you will find it slightly difficult in the beginning because you don't probably understand each nuances of Sanskritam sound, you will have to pay attention. It will help you. It will help you in making your mind very, very focused. Because sometimes what happens, we flow into emotions. And sometimes emotions can drift us in 100 different things. Emotions can make you drift. Don't use just the bhava or the emotions. You have to use Shraddha also. And to bring that Shraddha, this pronunciation of each mantra helps a lot. It will stop your mind to go, to flow into other thoughts, unnecessary thoughts. Okay. So when you are doing with your local language, if you want to do, there is absolutely no harm in it. Just make sure that the Shraddha aspect does not get lost. Because
Here Shraddha means concentration, right? Right, Swamiji?
Shraddha means 3-4 things. Shraddha is a very complicated word to be translated in English. It means
Okay.
faith. It means
Okay.
focus. It means devotion. And it means alertness. Right? All these things are very, very important when we talk about Shraddha. So if you want to do in your local language, you can do. There's nothing stopping you. But make sure your Shraddha is not compromised. But I will still recommend doing it with Sanskritam, because Sanskritam is our ancient language. And Amma has always been emphasizing a lot on learning Sanskritam. So this can help you to learn Sanskritam also. Okay, hope that helps. I think your video is gotten stopped because of some reason. We will take next person, please.
My question is, in Lalita Sahasranamam, when we go to the chakras, that is, I think, the 98th mantra onwards, in the sloga, in the stotra, when we talk about it starts with the Anahata chakra, Anahadabja Nilayai, like that. Corresponding, there are Sanskrit syllables or consonants connected with each of these centers. So you will find from A to Ksha, actually vinyasa of that in various chakras. So when we chant a mantra, in Sanskrit especially, where these A to Ksha are involved, these centers resonate. Spandan happens there. So has that a relationship with the way we chant the mantras, any mantra for that matter? Amma's
Definitely.
mantra or any?
Definitely.
This is my question, yeah.
Definitely. And I think because we are in the context of Amma's Ashtotram, I won't go into the too much details of this at this point of time, just in the interest of time. But definitely the pronunciation, proper pronunciation of mantras in Sanskritam, this is a very good point actually. This pronunciation of mantras in Sanskritam also helps to activate certain energy centers. In fact, our Guru mantra, which our Guru gives, the Bij mantra of that is specifically suited for a particular person. That is the most potent Bij mantra. But definitely all this vinyasa and all that does have a deeper science. We won't go into the details of it now, but definitely it helps if we chant properly. It helps in that activation of those energy centers and all that. Definitely it helps.
There's a last question. Please, I need a little more explanation and understanding and hearing the difference between the S with the dot below and the S with the slant mark above it. To my Western ear, they sound very similar. I want to practice correctly.
I was expecting a question like that. What is the name of the person?
The name of the person is Tushara Kategolevsky.
Okay. So Tushara, there is a little bit of air training which you will need. But trust me, if you try and don't give up, you will be able to understand the difference. It is basically with everything. Any sound related stuff, you have to do some air training. And it comes with practice. Even with music, not everybody can differentiate the different notes of music. Some people find it exactly same. But with ear training, you will be able to understand the nuances of those sounds. So the S with a slant mark on the top, it represents the sound sha, normal sha. So your tongue is straight here. Sha, sha. Tongue is straight, and you can feel a gap between your tongue and the roof of your palate. Sha, sha. Your tongue is not touching the teeth. Sha. The another one where you have a dot below, that one is sha, sha. Here, your tongue is slightly twisted. Sha. You're still not touching the palate or the teeth, but your tongue is twisted. Sha, sha. The first one is sha. The second one is sha. You try both ways. And if you're not able to see that difference now, when you hear that mantra again and again, the pronunciation, you will be able to feel the difference. And then you start yourself also pronouncing like that. Okay, so it needs some ear training. Give yourself some time. You may not be able to differentiate that in the very first class or the second class. Give yourself few more weeks, and I'm sure by end of 3 or 4 weeks, you will be in a much better position to differentiate.
Yes,
Okay.
we have covered all the questions, Swamiji. That was the last. And it was an exciting session as usual. And we are looking forward to the next session, which is on Saturday at 9
Saturday.
p.m. IST.
Yes.
And Saturday and Sunday, 9 p.m. IST.
Yes.
And we've learned a lot, Swamiji. And, the interest to learn more is even more. After learning
That's
about
great.
the 9 mantras. And the one
That's
thing that comes to my mind is how lucky we are to have Amma amidst us,
Yes.
who's, her presence and her expansiveness is so great after reading this mantra in detail. And we are so blessed to have Amma amidst us.
Truly, truly, if we do the right bhavna and right shraddha while chanting this Ashtotram, it lifts us to a totally different plane. If we understand and then chant this with proper bhavna and shraddha.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Swamiji.
Thank you so much. Thank
Pada
you.
namaskaram, Swamiji. Pada
Thank you.
namaskaram.
Thank you. Namaskaram.
Namaskaram.
तस्य पुत्रा वयं शृण्वन्तु